Above the clouds in the frozen expanse of Europe's skies, young men climbed into steel fortresses, B-17 flying fortresses, barely out of their teens, carrying with them fear, courage, and the weight of a world at war. The engines thundered to life, rattling their bones, while frost bit through layers of wool and leather. Every takeoff was a gamble, every mission a brush with death. Anti-aircraft fire shredded the sky, enemy fighters tore through formations, and at 25,000 feet, survival was never guaranteed. This is not a story of glory. It is not a tale of medals. It is a story of men who stared death in the eye, who crawled through smoke and fire to save their brothers, who fought through frostbite, blood, and terror, again and again. It is a story of courage forged in the harshest crucible imaginable, the sky above Nazi-occupied Europe. The B-17 was called the Flying Fortress. For those inside, it was also a coffin with wings. And for every plane that took off, one question haunted them all. Will we come home? Tonight we fly through the hellfire, through the screams, through the untold ordeals of the B-17 crews, the brave souls who faced the sky and refused to surrender. The sky over Europe during World War II was not just a battlefield. It was a relentless, merciless crucible where young men were tested beyond the limits of fear and endurance. At dawn, the mist rolled over English airfields, frosting the wings of hundreds of B-17 flying fortresses, lined up like silent, sleeping giants. Inside each aircraft, 10 young men, barely out of their teens, climbed into a world of steel and fire, where every mission could be their last. The engines roared to life, vibrating through every bone in their bodies, as the men strapped into their seats with oxygen masks frozen to the wires, gloves stiff from the cold, and hearts pounding with anticipation. This was no ordinary war. It was a war fought at 25,000 feet above clouds, above flak, above the reach of safety, where courage and terror collided in the most intimate of dances. The B-17 itself was a marvel, a flying fortress built to endure punishment that would have destroyed any ordinary plane. With its 1350 caliber guns, multiple engines, and self-sealing fuel tanks, it was engineered to survive flak bursts, head-on attacks, and mid-air collisions. And yet, despite its strength, every mission was a gamble with death. Crews watched as wings disintegrated, fuselages were shredded, and comrades were torn from their stations mid-air. The ball turret gunners curled inside their small spherical prisons in the belly of the plane, their fingers frozen to the triggers, exposed to the sky and the enemy, a single hit enough to trap them forever. Bombardiers braced themselves in the nose, the wind slicing through their suits, calculating the perfect release point for bombs that could change the war, knowing that one miscalculation could turn their plane into a fiery coffin. Pilots balanced fragile machines against gravity, wind, and fire, making split-second decisions that could save or doom everyone on board. Each mission over cities like Schweinfurt, Bremen, and Kiel became a test of nerve, precision, and sheer will, as waves of flak erupted like black thunderstorms and German fighters darted through the sky with lethal precision. Yet amid this chaos, moments of human courage and mercy emerged. The Memphis Belle, a B-17 that completed 25 missions, became a symbol of hope and endurance. The Ye Old Pub incident revealed that even in war, humanity could survive. A German pilot, seeing the terror and blood on a crippled bomber, chose to escort it out of danger rather than destroy it. These moments were rare, but they defined the spirit of the crews. Courage forged in fire, brotherhood born of shared peril. Crews patched holes with their own jackets, carried wounded friends through smoke and fire, and manned gunners even as the fuselage shuddered under continuous attack. Their lives depended entirely on one another, and in those frozen, screaming hours above Europe, bonds were created that would last a lifetime. The human cost was staggering. Tens of thousands of airmen were killed, thousands more injured or haunted for the rest of their lives by the trauma of the skies. Ground crews toiled endlessly, repairing planes that had returned riddled with bullet holes, often knowing that their work might never see the plane and crew fly again. Families at home celebrated the safe return of some, unaware of the invisible scars left on young men who had stared death in the eye for 25 missions. PTSD, survivor's guilt, and nightmares became the silent companions of those who survived, yet pride and duty propelled them forward. Even after the war, reunions became their therapy. Sharing memories with those who truly understood allowed them to bear the weight of what they had endured.